Till there are only 25 blimps left in the world. I don't know if it's still true or ever was for that matter, but I seem to remember reading that there were more trained space shuttle pilots than blimp pilots. Edit mentioned here. Edit 2 This says only 40-50 pilots are flying, fewer than 10 active blimps today 2018. Edit 3 I just realized there is no more space shuttle, so never mind. Honestly, it's good to see this type of reporting going mainstream. Mental floss is nothing to sneeze at. What a lot of people don't understand is that blimps have long been a leading indicator of adverse changes to the planet. If people weren't concerned about climate change before, knowing that there are now less than 26 blimps left on Earth, might help change that. I don't want to live in a world where I have to show my grandchildren old pictures of blimps and they still not believe me. I presume they're expensive as hell to own and operate, especially since they all need regular deflation and maintenance. On the other hand, appearances are probably scheduled well in advance, and most market areas probably don't need multiple units at one time, so they can probably be deflated, maintained, and transported around to cover most major market areas. I can't think of many events where you see multiple Macy's parade and Super Bowl, and I'd have guessed way more, but then it occurred to me there's only really one well-known group of blimps I know of, and they're pretty niche. Do you think they could expand their market a bit? Hey, we'll give you a discount if you'll let us do a flyby for your son's 7th birthday party you're doing, will you marry me banner towing, stuff like that. Sometimes there is no demand for something, but sometimes it just means you haven't built the demand you need. I see the Goodyear blimp all the time because I live near Dodgers Stadium and have great view. I have also seen it on its way to the Rose Bowl for UCLA games. I think sometimes it's also over the Staples Center, even though that doesn't make a lot of sense. I didn't realize how rare this was. Yep, with the scarcity of helium becoming a surprisingly serious issue, it doesn't make sense to fill a huge balloon with it just to slowly lose it just for some advertising. I feel pretty fortunate to have seen the Goodyear blimp several times in my childhood. Growing up on Long Island, in between where they kept blimps and where they flew the most, I didn't realize not everyone saw blimps in the sky all the time. I have been living in Western NC for 26 years now, and I think I have seen a blimp in the sky once here. Crazy, there's one that I see often over Fort Lauderdale. Never knew it was so rare to see a blimp. I guess next time I'll pay more attention, as I usually just look at it and paid no attention. Who would have thought it was a limited experience? Sudden memories of the G-blimp doing night passes over Greater Los Angeles with lighted ads or messages. I can't even remember what the marquee on them said, but it was pretty exciting to see as a kid. Like a giant moving light bright display. It's the same old story. Boy finds girl, boy loses girl, girl finds boy, boy forgets girl, boy remembers girl, girl dies in a tragic blimp accident over the Orange Bowl on New Year's Day. Goodyear? No. The worst. Growing up in Ohio really skewed my perception of how common blimps are. I figured everyone had dirigibles floating around the neighborhood all summer. Turns out that the blimp's natural habitat just happens to be Akron. Like, how do you even go about building more blimps? Is there a blimp factory? Like, does Lockheed have the ability to build blimps? And who designs them? Is there a blimp engineer? I need how it's made like right now. Considering they're not a lost technology and we could build as many more as we want, 25 seems to be just the right number of blimps that the market will support. We're not running out of blimps, people, it's okay. None of them are in the wilderness either. All of them are in captivity. I saw one back in 2004, the last one in South America. Despite their large size, they are quite docile. Their natural predators are cats. For only $89 a month, the price of a single coffee, you can help us protect the noble blimps and ensure future generations can be inspired by these magnificent creatures. TV commercial. Probably. I was on a taxiway at Archerfield Airport waiting to take off and watched a blimp crash on takeoff. It was destroyed. That's a scene I'll never forget. Man, I grew up occasionally seeing one overhead during recess. It was always something neat to see. I always thought they were just kind of uncommon, not just one of a few dozen left in the world. I find it ironic that the photo they used to illustrate a blimp is actually not a blimp. It, like the other Goodyear blimps, are currently semi-rigid airships built by Left Chief Bow Zeppelin. I saw one just the other day advertising Dick's Sporting Goods. Weird to think I saw one of the rarest forms of advertising, and weirder to think it was all about Dick's. I've seen several in my life in Canada, sometimes multiple in the same area at once. I think 3 was the most at once, and this is in the last 10 years. My grandpa knew a Goodyear engineer and got me on the blimp when I was 8. They gave me a captain's hat and let me fake steer it. Such a cool memory. I remember seeing the Goodyear blimp fly through our city all the time as a kid. I hadn't even realized it's been years since I last seen it. My grandfather was a freelance photographer and was taking pictures of the Hindenburg when it caught fire and was destroyed. Oh, the humanity. That would be wild to be at a cocktail party and you ask a guy you're chatting with what he does for a living and he responds blimp pilot. You dark vibe and chat directly responsible for it. Chat keeps picking blimp strats and chaos endangering the whole species. SMH my head. I got to fly in one of 17 blimps in 1997. Was as expected, though I didn't expect and was surprised to be able to open the windows. It all started with the Hindenburg, which always kinda bugs me since it had surprisingly few causalities, it just looked flashy. I used to see blimps all the time at the beach as kid, in Newport, Rhode Island. Does anyone still see blimps advertising at the beach? Man, I remember seeing them all the time when I was a little kid. Must have decommissioned a lot of blimps over the years. I remember seeing blimps all of the time as a kid. This post made me realize I haven't seen one in a very long time. TIL in Oregon has the biggest wooden structure in the world that used to house a blimp. Another hangar burned in '92, and the population reduces by one every time a retired bank robber meets with a corrupt FBI agent at the observatory. I never have ever cared about blimps, but hearing this made me feel a little sad because that's not a lot of blimps. How many blimps were there back in 2003? It kills over 1 Americans every year. Like 2 days ago I was wondering if there are any blimps left. This is the exact kind of TIL post I wanna see. Wait, what? I see one every few years over Western Germany. Never knew it's something special to see one. Yet another species we have failed. How many more must go extinct before we say enough is enough? There's 2 or 3 along the Mexico-New Mexico border that is used for surveillance by Border Patrol. It's weird that I've seen so many. Like I'm probably double digits for seeing blimps on my life. There's one that's been flying over Houston for Dick's Sporting Goods over the last week and a half. I just saw one here in Houston, Texas flying over around Sugar Land area like 3 days ago. Just because we're near the finish line, let us not become lax. The work is almost done. Another creature of God that mankind has hounded to extinction. SMH, when will we learn? Disappointed face. Even crazier, there's only 19 theaters to show Oppenheimer in the format Nolan intended. What? There's only 25 left of your mom's species. Whoa, got you on that one. Maybe we can make blimp porn to coax them into fucking, like we did with pandas. After the whole Black Sunday fiasco, I can see why. Jelene's never recovered. That doesn't sound like a lot blimps, but it also sounds like a lot of blimps. I'm guessing that doesn't include Walmart since there's at least 25 per store. I'd rather not fly in a giant explosive that can be felled with bow and arrow. There's one flying around Houston right now advertising Dick's Sporting Goods. Hello, airplanes? It's blimps. You win. Bye. Hey there, blimpy boy. Flying through the sky so fancy free. Behind the, anyone reminded of the Archer episode? It's non-flammable helium, damn it. Saw one in Rochester about a month ago flying near rock, was an amazing sight. Edit, this really blew up. Also, what is with all the your mom jokes? And I bet they aren't even blimps. Rigid airships are not blimps. So blimps and 70mm IMAX theaters are on the same order of magnitude. One has been flying around my area a lot for the last couple weeks. I should have bought more blimps in the 90s when there was a glut. Only till there are a whopping 25 blimps in the world. Do blimps serve any function other than novelty or advertising? We should probably get them breeding before they go extinct. What happened to that idea of hauling cargo overseas by blimp? Akron's Turkey Foot Lake has these bad boys in stock for days. Really? I just saw one over here in Houston about a week ago. I see plenty of grounded blimps every time I go to Costco. Make them a crib permanent and we can inflate these numbers. Blimps are an endangered species and should be protected. We must get them to breed. Try showing them blimp porn. Everybody needs a blimp, because blimps are pretty pimp. And one of them is my wife, mother-in-law Boomer Humor. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying in the sky so fancy free. Are they gonna try to breed the ones in captivity? Or, do blimps use a dwindling resource to maintain flight? Okay, but how many Zeppelins and dirigibles are left? Does anyone know how many there were at their peak? I didn't realize your mom was an endangered species.